If you're feeling overwhelmed in your first years of teaching, today you're going to discover the research behind the power of grit and how this secret weapon can literally transform what you thought of as your classroom struggles into the very reason you're going to become the teacher you've always wanted to be. So if you've been feeling like your first years of teaching have been like drinking from a fire hose, you're definitely not alone. Today, we're going to dive into the science behind this one skill that can completely transform your teaching experience: grit. So inspired by Angela Duckworth's groundbreaking research, I'm going to share exactly what grit is, why it's especially important for new teachers, and how you can develop this superpower to build staying power in teaching. So what exactly is grit? Angela Duckworth defines grit as the powerful combination of passion and perseverance for long-term goals. So it's sticking with something day after day, even when it's hard, even when it feels like nothing is going right. So when you think about teaching, your goal isn't just surviving until Friday, right? Or till your next vacation. Your true goal, your underlying goal for teaching is becoming a confident and impactful educator who's going to change kids' lives. And grit is what's going to make that happen. So when we think about why grit is so important for new teachers, Duckworth's research shows that teachers with higher levels of grit experience more job satisfaction and are far less likely to quit early. Teachers who are gritty persist through challenges. They keep improving and they significantly impact their students' academic and emotional growth, which is what we all want, right? But if you're struggling right now, please know that you're not alone. My first few years were tough. I struggled daily with classroom management. I felt overwhelmed, and I honestly remember that there were days when I questioned if teaching was even for me. But without even realizing it at the time, it was my grittiness that kept me going. I kept attending workshops and registering for free classes. I kept asking for help and for mentorship, and gradually, not right away, but gradually things turned around because eventually things started clicking. But it doesn't happen overnight. Why? Because it's always exciting beginning something new at the beginning, right? It's easy because we haven't been disappointed by anything yet. Anything feels possible. Everything feels shiny and bright, especially if you've always dreamed of being a teacher. Getting your own classroom, and especially in the very beginning, it feels like the realization of a dream. But once that first month or so passes and you're working 60-hour weeks in the steepest learning curve of your life, and that is just the way it is at the beginning of the year, as you work to find your groove and you start understanding how to streamline your planning, that's where grittiness comes in. It's in that messy middle. It's in those middle months of the year when you cannot go to sleep because your brain is on overdrive, and then you wake up and doubt yourself every single day. And if it sounds like I know all about this, it's because I do. When you're in that daily slog, when you start questioning everything, this is when champions are made. This is when you dig deep. This is when you make the choice every single day to keep going, especially when it's hard. It's a daily choice. It's so much easier to give up. But that perseverance, that is what's going to eventually turn around your classroom environment and deeply impact your students. Now, to understand this, we need to understand the secret of flow versus deliberate practice. So here's something really fascinating from Duckworth's research. Teachers achieve mastery, or what she refers to as flow, after thousands of hours of deliberate, challenging practice. That might not feel like good news to you, but it is, because it might look effortless from the outside, but that effortlessness is actually built upon intense effort over years. In fact, as you've probably heard before, it takes 10,000 hours at minimum to become an expert in any field. And teaching is no exception. That's why we so often hear about 5 years being that magic number. When you make that daily choice to build your grit muscle, when you commit to your daily practice of becoming a skilled teacher, you're going to start to feel your struggle eventually turn to flow, because practice is when challenges exceed skill, whereas flow is when practice and skill are in balance. When you watch an experienced teacher and they make it look so easy and you wonder, why is that not happening for me? It's because you're observing someone who's in flow. That's what you have to look forward to when you stay gritty, when you stick with it. You too are going to start to experience that moment when practice and skill are in balance. It's just like Olympic athletes who put in years of grueling practice to perform effortlessly at the games. Teaching is exactly the same. Don't compare your chapter 1 to someone else's chapter 20. They've just put in more hours. So let's talk about 4 practical ways to develop grit. The first way is to master classroom routines. Those small, consistent habits are going to create your success. So set clear, short-term goals like work on perfecting your morning routine by Thanksgiving, because being relentless and diligent in developing those small daily classroom routines are going to transform your entire teaching experience when you stick with them over time. Remember that practice is not pleasurable. So stop expecting it to be easy and fun. Instead of expecting every day to be rainbows and unicorns, remember that it's hard work learning to master classroom routines and to run a classroom. So let's just let it be hard for a while. That's okay. Learning is often challenging. We tell our students this every day. It's hard. So what? Every day is a fresh opportunity to try something new. Every day is a fresh start. The next thing you can do is to redefine hope. So what do I mean by that? True hope isn't wishing things are going to improve or wishing things were different. That's disempowering. Instead, take your power back. Hope is not believing, it's deciding you can make things better through daily effort and trying different things. It's not magic. If you're struggling with lesson planning, just commit to trying one new strategy every week or every month. And if you're part of the Classroom Management Club, you've heard me say this like 1,000 times. Over time, small changes lead to major improvements. You are fully in control of making the decision that you will make things better through experimenting and not giving up until you figure it out. The next thing I want you to do is to practice learned optimism instead of learned helplessness. Here's what I mean by that. Optimistic teachers are looking all the time for specific, solvable reasons behind challenges. Instead of thinking things like, I always mess up, they say, what specific thing can I change, right? Optimism drives persistence, and persistence drives success. It's suffering that you think you can't control that leads to hopelessness. So right now, pause for a second and think about a recent challenge. How did you respond? And how would approaching it with grit and optimism change things for you? And keep these reflections handy. It's your reminder of your progress and of your resilience, because when you look back at all of the challenges you faced and how you've overcome them, it's going to help you so much to keep going. Remember, developing grit isn't about avoiding struggles. It's about making the empowering choice of what you're going to do next. You have more control than you realize. And if you want to dive deeper into this topic, watch for an upcoming episode of the Beginning Teacher Talk podcast, because we're going to go into even more detail about how you can harness the power of grit in your life, both in teaching and outside of it. And speaking of empowering choices, to start strong next school year, save your seat for my free class, How to Get Ready for the School Year in 5 weeks or less, so you can get the help you need to know what you need to do to prepare and feel fully confident. You can grab your spot at drlorifriesen.com/ready and transform your summer planning from overwhelming to empowering. And if you're looking for an inspiring summer read, grab your copy of Grit. I've linked to it for you in the comments. And remember, you've got this. Just keep going, keep challenging yourself, and don't give up. And remember that just because you're a beginning elementary teacher, there's no need for you to struggle like one. Bye for now.